apparently, randomly, Ben Shapiro says that even Martians would be opposed to same-sex marriage. You could be a visitor from Mars, and you could see that all of human procreation relies on man, woman, child.
Does he think we're down to 5 people?
Also, does he think that we're down that the marriage is only about having kids?
Yeah.
I'm married. I'm not having any kids.
Well, the thing is, their argument, and how we're still discussing this. Like, he's gone, transphobia didn't do it for us. Transphobia didn't get the Republicans to where they need to be.
I didn't realize.
So I think we should go all the way back to homophobia.
I genuinely didn't realize how bad the Republican discourse about trans people was in America. I was like watching Trump's like.
And you live in England.
Yeah, I know, and I literally watched because there's like the American culture wars, right? And so I was watching Trump, and he was talking about like he just brought up trans people, that trans and the kids, and I was like, huh? Trans and the kids. Apparently, I've not been paying enough attention. Apparently, I've just been sort of like I just don't listen to right-wing people. But apparently, they're all over the fucking they're trans and the kids, and it's like fuck me, dude.
But the thing is, right, and like, yes, they have been doing that
It's
really
wild.
hard.
I didn't realize they were going so explicit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
They're like, it's about saving the children. And then the children are like, well, if we're trans and we can't get necessary treatment, that often ends really poorly for us.
You're doing the opposite of saving us, yeah.
And they're like, no, I'm saving you from not knowing what you want. And they're like, but I do know what I want. And science agrees with me on what I want. And therapists agree with me on what I want. And they're like, well, it makes me feel funny. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant.
I genuinely saw some guy say, if there have been 1,000 kids in 1 year that have transitioned, and even one of them was a mistake, then that's one too many. And I'm like, you'd really throw 999 trans kids under the bus just to save one other kid.
One
like,
cis kid.
Every single thing in human existence has a margin of error.
Yeah.
Everything has a margin of error. Yes, there will be trans people who transition, who weren't ever trans, and then they were like, "Well, no, that wasn't it." You know what I mean? And they're like on their quest for self-discovery. Like I knew someone who basically transitioned to a woman and then transitioned back to a man because they were sort of like, "Well, that wasn't correct." It's like it happens. Shit happens, man.
Also, how are you supposed to know if something isn't right if you cannot try it? Like, it's something that really frustrates me about the idea of regret. Right? Is obviously when it comes to transitioning or pretty much any like major life decision. There is a level of, you obviously want to make sure you're making the right decision. That is completely fine. That being said, and that's the point of things like puberty blockers, is they just give you that time to feel it out, live in your gender, feel out what life is like, and decide, hey, am I comfortable with this? And where do I want my transition to end? Because like lots of people who transition will go, right, I want X surgeries or I want no surgeries. Some people want hormones, some people don't. It's allowing people to feel that out is excellent, right? Now, obviously, you need some hormones. So you can't just be like, I'm on puberty blockers forever, but that's not an option. So the crazy thing about it is that people are there going, oh, well, if somebody wasn't happy with their decision and then transitioned back, or detransitioned essentially, then that's terrible and should never have been allowed to happen. And I'm like, but a lot of the time, you can't know something's wrong for you unless you try it.
Yeah, you have to live that lifestyle. Now, there are, like, Azriel said, having your parts removed isn't something you try. No, that is like body dysmorphia, right? And that's a whole other spectrum. Like, you can be a straight white man and have body dysmorphia about
But that's the
penis.
thing is, the obsession with transitioning is that, like, all trans people are immediately getting every surgery. And it's like,
They're
no.
getting chipped and chopped
you
and
literally,
sliced.
You literally can't, and you don't.
It's
like,
normally about lifestyle. It's normally about public perception and sort of like societal acceptance.
And if we made the world safer for visibly trans people, then you would see more people trying something out, seeing if it worked for them without having to have a huge announcement. By the way, I'm trans, I'm doing X, I'm doing Y, I'm doing Z. People could just try dressing a certain way, try a new name, try some new pronouns.
It is one of those...
See what suits them. But instead, because we're like, you don't look right, you have to be the most, like...
It's one of those funny statistics.
Cis-passing person from day one.
It's one of those funny statistics that people have now where they're sort of like, wow, why are there so many more gay people these days than in the past? And it's like, I wonder fucking why.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Is it because we're not fucking killing them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you can come out safely.
Yeah.
Great.
And also, men are allowed to be bisexual. Well, you know, even now, most bisexual men are closeted. Because, like, oh my god, every other woman I meet is like fucking bisexual, like fucking losing their shit about hot ladies.
I was walking back from the pharmacy yesterday, and there was a guy with a giant ass macaw sat on his shoulder, like he was a goddamn pirate.
Fuck
And I
yeah.
bet the macaw was having a great day.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, the fact is if we could stop, in my opinion, if we could stop,
Just stop.
rejecting
Just
people
stop.
for behaving in ways that we don't like, why are you wearing that? Why are you doing this? And people could feel themselves out safely, and you wouldn't have to have people frigging like jumping down each other's throats. Like the amount of mocking I've seen, even from within the LGBT community, to like younger queer kids who are like, my pronouns are this. No, my pronouns are that. No, my pronouns are this. My name is that. There is no harm in that.
No.
You're trying, it's the same way that like you might dress up hella emo one day and then you're trying a scene look and then you're trying, like, people are trying shit out to see who they are. Right?
And it's one of those things where it's like, I personally, as a 36-year-old straight white guy, my pronouns are he, him. Who would have guessed? If someone they, them to me, I wouldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? So you could say my pronouns are he, him, they, them. I don't care. Like, you can call me whatever you want. I'm not. If someone called me a girl, I'd just be sort of like, you're clearly being purposely antagonistic, but whatever. I don't really care being if I'm called a girl. It doesn't bother me. But kids who are like discovering like what pronouns are or thinking about their gender in ways that we never even considered when we were younger, like, yeah, they get made fun of a lot, and I probably will have a tough time calling someone Z and Zer, but at the same time, I got no problem with they, them. They, them's pretty fucking normal.
Also, even if I find it hard to call somebody by their preferred pronouns, I'll try my best.
Yeah, I won't go out of my way to be purposely
And
antagonistic.
at the end of the day, if I struggle, like, I'm dyslexic, I get shit back to front all the time anyway. If I struggle and that struggle is upsetting to them, then maybe we should just go our separate ways. I don't know. I would definitely do my absolute best. That's all I can say on the subject. You know, the last thing I want to do is make somebody feel shitty, but also, you know, it's not something that I've ever put in my vocabulary before. But then there was a time when calling people they, them was definitely something that I wasn't, like, I hadn't done before and did not come naturally. And having had a couple of non-binary friends, it allowed me, like, I mean, one of the things I did was I always stuck to the right pronouns when I was talking about them, even if they weren't there. Meaning, and you should do that anyway because it's shitty, but it means that by the time you're actually talking to somebody in real life, you actually have had a chance to practice and not fuck it up, you know?
Bi girls are just straight and going through a phase. Bi guys are gay and just pretending not to be.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it's like, it's a bit more insidious than that. Blokes find two women getting together fit because it means they get to potentially have sex with two women, even though it's kind of not what's going on. Those two women have a consensual thing between themselves.
Yeah.
But
Guys are like, time to wedge myself in the middle. And it's
time
like,
to insert myself where I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, two guys, even though it's really weird, like, it's really weird. Guys, when they're together, are super gay. Straight guys, they're really weird. They all touch each other. They put their, because basically guys do the whole thing of like, I don't have any physical, like, I don't get hugs, I don't get like compliments, I get this, that, and the other. So they do it with guys, and it's this whole idea that men are emotionally attracted to other men, but physically attracted to women.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this really weird.
I was watching a video about like the world's strongest man competition that's happening right now, and they had like a hot tub or an ice bath or something for them to get into, and these guys went in there, and he was literally like, oh, when I get in this, my dick gets hard. Oh, you're sitting right in front of me. Oh, but I kind of need to pee too. And he's like, don't you piss on my asshole. And I was like,
no, straight guys together.
They're both like straight guys.
No, straight. No, I've never.
And I was like,
I'm not touchy, right? I'm a non-toucher, right? I don't like. I'm not big on. I'll do it at like conventions and stuff like that because kind of everyone expects it, and I'm sort of like I just brace myself for it. But generally, unless it's Emily, no touch. But guys will just get like really just sort of like, they'll be, hey Fred, hey, how you doing, mate? Oh my god, and they'll just like stand there like for like 20 minutes just talking to people with their arm around you, and I'm just there like, this is fantastic, I'm having a fucking great time. Someone's got their arm around me, and it's like awesome, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, it's and then sometimes they'll be sort of like, yeah, you're not puffed though, are you? Yeah, you're puffed.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, I mean, I will say that I think the world is
you're basically fingering me just now, mate. Like, don't get all like fucking. Do you know what I mean? Don't get all like sanctimonious about fucking homosexuality.
The world is way more comfortable when they can put you in like one box, right? So like as a bi person, I definitely find that like even my like queer friends will be like, oh yeah, you're straight, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not straight, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not straight, yeah, but then my straight friends will be like, you're not straight, and then you'll end up in this weird situation.
Well, because you're married to me, it's you're not straight, but you are still kind of straight. And
yeah, and it's like, no, I'm bi. Like, you can have 2 or more things.
Additive.
I really wish this was still moist gusset, but it's not. Hairy carrot. Have a hug, Fred.
Thank you.
Emily, have a coffee. I don't know. Humbug.
Are you getting into the Christmas spirit?
I'm with you on the Christmas spirit, dude. There's Christmas everywhere, and I'm like, we're not in December yet. Stop, it's not Christmas. Stop it. Stop it.
Well, it's a classic, like, oh, you picked a side. So, like, my other friend who's bi, she was saying when she was dating a girl, everyone was like, you're a lesbian, you're a lesbian, you're a lesbian. And she was like, I'm not a lesbian. But then...
Zero games for Jez. This is a fucking travesty.
No! When does Mugmas season start? December, Jez. Not a moment too soon.
Spoilers. Oh, spoiler. We might have a Mugmas sponsor. I'm not saying any more than that. Also, we're talking about bisexuality right now, and it just reminds me of this. This always makes me laugh.
A classic.
I love it. This is like a great... When somebody asks me if I'm gay.
Well, no. And yes.
This is just...
It's spot on. But I've heard people talking about being like straight or gay or lesbian as monosexuality. And like, I think that is certainly an interesting way of looking at it. That like people are much more comfortable with like, well, what do you like? And you're like, oh, kind of whatever, really. And people are like, yeah, but what do you prefer? And you're like, oh.
It's
like, and some people do have preferences.
It's the Boolean of sexuality.
Like, you can be bi and have preferences. But like, you can also, the same way that Cheers!
Gift us up to Mermaid.
Welcome back to the way of the Dragonflies.
Guys, can we please get some love for Jez and for Mermaid? Mermaid, welcome back.